No intro today, I guess. That's all right. Inside the Gamecocks, we're here with you, along with Phil Mullinax, and we've got this, and we got a reason for this day. This is my fault. We redid all of our commercials, and I think the system got a little overloaded there. But on Fridays, we usually do the football intro anyway. So, and we missed that because there's no game tomorrow.
It looked like JC. It looked like it was running, but hey, all right.
It did. On your see, it's not showing up on my end, so I apologize for that. Folks in the chat box, did it do that?
Yeah, let us know. Was the intro?
Did the intro play? I don't know. Anyway, this is Inside the Gamecocks, the show. JC Sherman here, along with Phil Mullinax, on a Friday. I hope everybody's still basking in the glow of victory last week and living in victory, as the church says. John says no intro Friday. So, the cold open, if you will. Cold open Friday. Hey, thanks. You gave me a neat name of the show. So Jan said just the countdown. So, but okay. So on that note, we've been thinking about. You guys know we have advertisers here, and it keeps the show going. It's a necessity. And what I don't want the show to become, because there are shows out there like this, through no fault of the host, because they work for companies or whatever that have to protect their bottom line. This is an independently owned and operated enterprise, and we got a lot of them, and they're good people and they're fans, and we want to take care of them. But I also want to take care of all our listeners, and so what I thought was, including our podcast audience. So I made an executive decision here with Phil. Phil and I voted 2-0. My dog.
It's World Cup season. 2-0.
2-0. My dog Red abstained, and Lizzie the turtle voted no, but she doesn't get a vote because she's on probation. But we made this decision to okay. So we're gonna have, because at the bottom of the hour, top of the hour, we always have like these 5-minute breaks. They're epically long, right? I thought that was too much. So we're going to have short break, but more of them. So we're going to do a short break at like 15, the first couple of hours, and no more than like a minute 20. I think one's 30 seconds. And then a shorter break at the bottom of the hour, top of the hour. So you're going to have, more time with us, but more pauses in the action, so to speak. Clint does say that you can hear everything in my mic when you're typing and stuff. Yeah, I need to stop that. I'm so used to, I guess, like on JC and Morgan, or when I'm so used to like putting it on mute or whatever, and I don't. I'm like a big dumb animal. Like I'm a bull in a china shop, if you will, with this thing. But I did adjust my mic today. I moved it up a little bit away from some other things. And I'm trying to stay very still below my neck, because I think that's my problem. I fidget around, do this, that, and the other. And I'm sorry, because I'm sorry for that too. That's something else we're trying to fix. This thing's a work in progress. It's a live show. It's just me and Phil, but so those are the plans, with regards to the show, with the break. So if you hear more breaks, just understand we'll be right back. I mean, it's going to do that quickly. Inside the Gamecocks, the show is sponsored exclusively by Express Sunrooms in Columbia. If you're looking to build a sunroom or whatever other products they have, give John Barber a call. You can see that on the scroll at the bottom of the page. It's 803-446-4662, or John B. at expresssunrooms.com. And John will be joining us. He's JB Kingmancock, by the way, with some bigger news to come at some point next week. We got some other guys there to do that. All right, Gamecocks play men's basketball tomorrow. Georgetown, I don't know, probably be ugly. Although Georgetown wasn't very good last year.
Expectations low, right? Yeah.
Keep your expectations low. I'll say this, though. Gigi Jackson tweets out apologies to the fans for the way we played after a 24-point loss to George Washington. I mean, I've been watching Carolina basketball a long time. They've played George Washington a lot. I don't even remember the Gamecocks losing to them. Maybe like in '86 when George Felton. I remember they played them. They may have lost by 4, but they lost by 24 points to GW. Shoe buddy, that's the game you throw in because you're going to Georgetown and you want your team to go tour the mall, the National Mall, and stuff like that, right?
Yeah, and at least come out of there breaking even.
Yeah. And I remember Dave Odom did something similar to this. Dave went out, and it was crazy because they played like SC in Los Angeles, and then UC Irvine, and they beat SC. And then got smoked by UC Irvine during the Odom era. I don't remember which year that was specifically. My memory's good, but I tell you, there's so many non-conference basketball games. Unless it's just one that stands out that's like special, I don't remember it. Krieger's on his way to Chucktown as we go to the award-winning Nana's Porch chat box. I'm going to catch up with some of these right now. Also the mailbag. Don't forget Michael Flint, I believe, second hour. Krieger's on his way to Chucktown. Mm-hmm. Sweet. Sonder, I guess, lives in Charleston. It's like we're full unless you're only visiting, and then enjoy your stay. I guess people are moving there, right? Krieger's North Charleston. Jared's in the fine weekend in the Great Smoky Mountains of Tennessee. I'm probably going to go down there this summer. Take the fiance and the boys and all that good stuff. And Phil says that's what he tells folks coming to Greenville. Get out.
Yeah, it's like, all right, yeah, it's okay. Drop in for a few and then get on home where you ought to be.
No doubt. No doubt. AJ2 says, been engrossed in the World Cup this week, but during my lunch hour, I feel obligated to stop in and say, ha, Clemson. Yeah, we've added some notes of interest during the commercial breaks about that game. AJM said, I know you all missed my hard-hitting analysis. By the way, Satterfield. Yeah, it's good he's gone. Tristan says, another day, another holla. Holla, Tristan. Jan talks about the helicopter flying over again.
Yeah.
Remember that stupid helicopter. No intro Friday. GC fan says, morning, JC and Phil. Austin says, I will be basking for the next 55 weeks. And Jan says, should be 51 weeks, Austin. Beat you to it. Okay, so are we heading to Tampa? GC, so pull this up. I want to discuss this.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
All right, and he puts the emoji with the guy's hand over his face. Probably.
Now, looks like it. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. You don't want to. If Ohio State makes the playoff, I honestly don't know what's going to happen with regards to the opponent in the ReliaQuest Bowl. And in that case, if I'm Ray Tanner and Chance Miller and the new president and Shane Beamer and everyone else, I'm going all in and saying, no. We're not going there. We want to play in the Gator. You guys, and I'm kind of showing my butt about it, right? But there is a clause. If Ohio State goes to the Orange Bowl, which people expect, the ReliaQuest can take an ACC team. They know Carolina wants to play Notre Dame. To me, I'm going to say this, and I know trips to Tampa get old because that's the bowl Carolina's been to the most. But I'll remind everybody, in the 80s, the Gamecocks went to 4 bowls. Three times they went to Jacksonville and filled it up all 3 times. And that was more frequently than these days. And it's something different. It's Notre Dame. And I think, honestly, for the football program, I'm not talking about the fans because I totally understand Tampa again. And then some people, the date, you got to work because this year the New Year's games are on the 2nd. It's best for the program to play Notre Dame. Bottom line, if they get the Citrus, I think that's kind of an equal or a little bit lesser exposure, but the Citrus is the biggest bowl outside of the New Year's 6. And that can still happen too. But I think it's just – I think you want to play big brand name teams and try to beat them. I know a lot of you weren't alive in the 80s. I'm finding that out now. Danny Ford got a lot of mileage in the late 80s, and they probably – Clemson could, had he not gotten fired. Clemson may have won another national title at some point because they were kind of rolling, and then he abruptly got fired and was gone. But he made a living, They played in the Citrus Bowl back-to-back years because back then the ACC champion went. and beat Penn State and Oklahoma in 87-88 in Orlando. And, those weren't championship bowl games or anything like that, but knocking off those big brands, that got them a lot of mileage. You got Ken Hatfield enough players to win the ACC his first year, and then, it fell out. Likewise with South Carolina, I think beating Nebraska, Michigan, Ohio State, Miami in bowl games. I think that's always good. I think Independence Bowl, Miami wasn't worth a crud, but the Gamecocks can still say, like, look, and Notre Dame is a brand name team. I mean, this program has beaten Georgia, it's beaten Alabama, it's beaten Clemson, it's beaten Ohio State, it's beaten Michigan, in the last 20 years. Think about that. Carolina owns a Florida, Miami. Carolina owns a lot of scalps with some of these brand name teams. And they don't always beat them, but they have. And the more you do that, I think the better it is for your program, your history, your tradition, and all that. One scout they do not have, even though they did win the last time they played them in '84, is Notre Dame. And Notre Dame's been a playoff team, et cetera, et cetera. So there we go.
And to that point, JC, Brad Crawford this morning said that there's also the possibility that if we do end up playing in the ReliaQuest Bowl and having to go to Tampa, if we don't play Notre Dame, the other opponent, as opposed to it being all that Illinois talk we heard earlier, was it could be Florida State.
That's true. I forgot about that. Yeah, he did.
Because they have not played in a Florida bowl game in 6 years, is how talk about abyss.
I kind of think Florida State may go to the Gator. And actually, my friend that works for Florida State thinks it's the Cheez-It. But here's the scenario there where it could end up being FSU if Clemson. Well, see, I don't know, because Clemson. Whoa, here's what could happen. Let's get our brains and
churn the speculation bucket here.
when we get past our first break here, I'll come back and I'll tell you how it actually could end up. The Carolina does end up in the Gator when all is said and done, but some crazy stuff has to happen. So we're going to take this first mini break. Back in 30 seconds inside the Gamecocks the show.
Gamecock Nation, do you need a place to stay for the big game? Many hotel booking engines keep all the commissions, but at Fan Plans, you support inside the Gamecocks, still earn your hotel loyalty points, and you receive an email with direct confirmation from the hotel. Whether you are visiting Columbia to cheer on Carolina or hitting the road to follow the team, get in the stands with Fan Plans.
This is Coach O. Now back to the show. Go Tigers in the song.
Here we go, back inside the Gamecocks show.
I like that. That's good.
Quick and painless. That's fanplans.com, by the way. When the bowl is announced, you guys that are making travel plans, if you want to support not only the podcast, but also Carolina Rise, we need NIL money. There's going to be a percentage of our commission that goes into the collective. Book through fanplans.com. And you can use your hotel rewards numbers, no skin off your back. Just book through fanplans.com, and we'll have more information about that when the bowl's announced. But I want to go ahead and get you guys familiar with it. Okay, so let's say North Carolina beats Clemson. All right. Well, and Ohio State ends up in the Orange Bowl as expected. All right. Well, Clemson's probably not a New Year's Six at that point. Did the cat knock over your coffee cup? Cat.
I'm like getting into free.
Meow.
Uncanny, they just went, it's showtime. Let's go upstairs.
Cats are like, oh, camera. So let's say North Carolina beats Clemson in that bowl. So this is North Carolina, the Orange Bowl. All right. So Clemson played in the Cheez-It last year. So I think that sends Florida State most likely to Orlando and the Cheez-It, because I think the Cheez-It has the next selection. So where's Clemson going to go? Well, in that case, Clemson could probably end up in the ReliaQuest. And thus send, and then they can't match Clemson and Carolina again. There's no way I'd agree to that if I'm South Carolina. And that's what makes it the Gamecocks to the Gator. or it may send Clemson to the Gator. I don't know exactly, or Clemson to the Summit. I don't know exactly where Clemson would go. I know they played in the Cheez-It Bowl last year, though, so that would probably send them to either Tampa or Jacksonville or El Paso or wherever else they have in the ACC. Because I don't think at 10-3 they would make the New Year's Six. So anyway, that's my talk there. John says JC announces tomorrow's men's basketball game. Phil noticeably stiffens, sighs, and shakes his head. LOL. And I think it's on top of Joey. Joey's like, while Suggs is talking about a game on the radio, he suddenly says, "I'll give it back to you." Like Todd is scowling at him. Well, Todd, he runs over him sometimes. Tommy will run over Todd, and man, as long as Tommy's announced and Todd's been in the booth with him now for 20 years, I wouldn't care.
No, I mean, yeah, exactly.
If I want to cheer and say, "They done it," I'm gonna do it. At this point, it doesn't matter. Queasy says the best part about a 1-point win against Clemson is every Clemson fan was still in the stands when the game was final. Would not have happened had we blown them out. See the misery and pain. We want you to see it and feel it. Yeah. There's a video there's a video here on our YouTube page that has the crowd at the end of the game, and they're all still sitting there. Yeah, that's pretty sweet, I guess, when you beat your rival and that happens. Award-winning Nana's Porch chat box rolls on. Beamer on Chuck Oliver says Spencer Rattler plans to play in the bowl. Yeah, that's what I've been hearing. I didn't expect Rattler to opt out of the bowl. I don't expect Rattler to hit the transfer portal. I think it's either NFL or come back to Carolina. And I think, given the way the season unfolded, because I think if he'd kept struggling, he may have gone to another school, right? Not that he was never ever unhappy here, but you struggle that bad, maybe you need a fresh breath. But then he played so well the last two, I think the NFL's back on the table. So it's kind of a catch-22. But yeah, Rattler, I'm not surprised. Cam Smith signed with an agent. Good for him. Top half of the first rounder. Yeah, I don't know if Cam's going to play, but he's going to be drafted pretty high. Clint's holding out hope for Orlando. Here's Will. Here's Will's thing. If Missouri can refuse to play Kansas in a bowl game, USC can flex their muscles too. I have some thoughts about this. First and foremost, Missouri, I don't know. They're about to get hit pretty hard in the transfer portal.
They already have their grad transfers are already declaring.
Yeah, they're out. Kansas doesn't really have a lot of guys that I think will leave. Those two schools are big rivals. They're like Clemson and South Carolina or Ohio State and Michigan. People wonder about these manufactured rivalries for Missouri, like Carolina with the trophy and the Arkansas game, even though Arkansas is closer to Missouri than any other school. They hate Kansas, and Kansas hates them. And so they wanted to pair them together. The SEC, though, is very like they've never made Texas play Texas A&M in a bowl, for example, and that kind of thing. So that's the deal there. Hunter says Tom Herman took the job, and as far as Carolina goes, I'd flex my muscle too, and I'd be like, this is completely unfair that you're sending us here again and all that. If the opponent is not Notre Dame, or Florida State. I'll take Florida State too. Florida State, Carolina, and Tampa.
That's awesome. A good brand. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they're hot. It'd be really two of the hottest teams in college football.
And I don't mind playing Purdue in Orlando just because it is the Citrus. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I'm with you there. Hunter says Herman took the job at Florida Atlantic. Fingers point more to Browse coming now. I don't know that Kendall Browse is even the top candidate. From what I heard, he did want that so to take a coordinator job at either Carolina or Auburn or someplace like that. I kind of feel like he will leave Arkansas. That had to be a bridge that got crossed. So if Beamer wants to hire Browse, I think that was a big situation. And I don't know why Beamer wouldn't, but maybe he's like, there's a lot of other names out there in the mix. Queasy says, anybody remember the Blockbuster Bowl? The first one was Florida State and Penn State. And I do. And you know that the Blockbuster Bowl became the CarQuest Bowl.
Yep.
And that was the first South Carolina Bowl victory in 1994. So there you go. Played it at Joe Robbie Stadium, which is now, what is it, Hard Rock, Land Shark, whatever they're calling it. Where
I think it's back to, I think it's Hard Rock now.
Yeah, back to Hard Rock. John's praying for Clemson versus Tennessee. Yeah. Because if Clemson, everybody's talking about, Ohio State will roll Clemson. Ohio State may have 15 guys opt out. Okay.
Yeah.
And you know how Dabo is going to rally the troops and encourage people not to opt out. Nobody opted out last year for the Cheez-It Bowl. You think they're going to do for the Orange Bowl. So with that kind of depletion on Ohio State's roster, the Clemson could win.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. Here we go. Nice new commercial, lads. John says, thank you. Clint's like, I'm the only one that wants Purdue in Orlando. Nah, I'd be all for it. I'll be in Orlando, Clint. That way I don't have to change cities. I'll just go. I'll just roll right up I-4 to that Universal area and party there.
Yeah, head across town.
Yeah. Clint's like, JC's looking like a kung fu movie, LOL. Yeah, because I'm trying not to make that reverb sound with my mic.
Well, it's not that you accompany that though with there's a bit of a lag in your internet today, so it is kind of funny. I've been enjoying it.
Boom! I wish it's times like this, Phil. I wish I had a gong, right?
Okay.
Yeah. Oh, Matt, I forgot, Matt. His wife would be the worst if Carolina plays Florida State. Married to a Florida State guy. Well, how do you think I feel about Notre Dame? I mean, I'm seriously, I can sleep outside.
Maybe making for some interesting houses divided here. These bowl matchups, right?
Yeah, no doubt. James says his favorite was in Clemson at second 19, and Todd says Clemson second longer than a dirt road in Pickens County. Why would he say that on 19 though? Because that Clemson could pick that up, man. If it was 35, feel free. Oconee County probably has more dirt roads too. 76 says, don't make me miss Blockbuster. Looking for new movies that weren't available, going through the Dropbox. Yeah, it was like the Hunger Games. On the message board today, they asked me, they're like, why do you not like A Christmas Story? And I've never really gotten into it. You know, I'm a Christmas Vacation guy, Elf. It's a Wonderful Life. I do think today's poll question, by the way, is Die Hard a Christmas movie or not? People, they're going to get going on it. So anyway, that's the poll question for today. Is Die Hard a Christmas movie? But so anyway, it was during the era of Blockbuster or the local video store where they got the card catalog out and checked you out. Could not find Christmas Vacation anywhere. Ex-wife and I were jonesing for it. It was the one year we had to stay in Nashville for Christmas and didn't get to go home. We're like, let's just watch Christmas Vacation. So meanwhile, on WTBS, they had a 24-hour A Christmas Story marathon, and we both were like very lukewarm about that movie. It made me hate it. Is Die Hard a Christmas movie? Some people are saying yes. Justin has an interesting point. Curveball on OC. Let's say Sat didn't call the second half against Kentucky, and let's say the conspiracies are true, and he didn't call the Tennessee and Clemson game. Thoughts on Beamer giving that guy the OC job? Well, he called him. I mean, I was in the stands at Kentucky, and I know the body language is a little different, but if you think about it though, whenever Sat was calling plays, even when they struggled on the sidelines, he wasn't like signal like Spurrier or signaling stuff in or like he just kind of stood there and read into the play sheet. So I do think he had some help in all of those instances and some suggestions. And the last two games, I think the head coach gave him some parameters. I think Shane Beamer went Nick Saban because Nick Saban, when you work for him on offense, he lets you run your own offense, but he's like, well, here's what you will not do. You will not do this. You will not do that. You will not do that. Yeah, here's what you will do. You'll do this. And I think a Saban-esque power play was in there.
Well, we saw the last meaningful play, in the Clemson game was obviously the players having to override his initial inclination to not give it to A, the hot hand, and B, one of the best players on the team.
Isn't that kind of telling? With Eric Douglas.
That was so damning, that it really was to me. It was just like, wow, your offensive lineman's like, no, give it to this guy. The game will be over. Yeah.
Yeah. Dos Banditos, Josh Van shined some lights on Sat's play call in the last 2 weeks. Yeah, check out his podcast. I have not seen it yet, but I'll go look at it. Saunders says sneaking into the adult section at the video stores was a coming-of-age experience. Yeah, the Playboy video and then the Penthouse video was a little – I'm not going to get into all that right now. Yeah, John says Shane put the bumpers up in the bowling alley. Yeah, that's a very good analogy, John.
Excellent.
A very, very good analogy. I like that. And 76 believes that Die Hard is a Christmas movie, perfect movie for Christmas. So, and Die Hard would not exist without Christmas. And look at the Christmas sweater, like the Nakatomi Plaza annual Christmas party. That stuff's hilarious. I like that. That was a great movie too. Die Hard. I liked all of them. I did not see that. None of the Die Hards, what I say, were bad. The original was the best, and the one with the plane, I think it was 2. That was second best. But then, like the one later on with Samuel L. Jackson was fine, and all that.
Yeah, they were still good, action packed. That's what you're looking for in that kind of movie, anyway.
Well, I thought the one where he went to Russia with his kid to find his kid or whatever is a little different, but maybe a little more realistic. So that's the deal there. Sugar Ray has a great take, and then we'll get in our second break. Biggest takeaway from the season: our exits, South Carolina's exits, are finally equaling our entrances into Willie B. Very good. Mm-hmm. Very good thing now. Ho, 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 now I have a machine gun. I have a machine gun. All right. Second break, first hour. Michael Flint joining us, top of the second, inside the Gamecocks the show. Remember, these breaks will be shorter, so you don't have time to go do your business in the bathroom and grab a beer before you're back. You can do one or the other. This is Inside the Gamecocks the show. We'll be back after these messages. Hey, man, are you sick and tired of your business computer guy?
Yes, he takes forever to call me back and doesn't always respond to the requests.
Yeah, same here. I'm paying him good money. I constantly have issues, and I'm worried he's not backing up my network and securing it properly.
You know what, Phil? Let's ask Stone Blanton.
Hey, JC and Phil, if you want a solution to your IT problems, give Heritage Digital a call. Our boy Matt Odom has a low-cost, one-price solution that will get you running right. Call 843-699-1001 or heritagedigital.com and ask for Matt. He will hook you up today and tell them Stone sent you.
If you're looking to sell or buy multifamily property right here in South Carolina, the Burgesson team of RE/MAX at the Lake can help you get to closing fast and easy. Adam and Derek Burgesson both are very proud Gamecocks and are more than happy to assist you with any of your commercial real estate needs all across the state. You can email Adam at aburgesson@remax.net. That's ABERGESON@remax.net to get your next deal underway. The Burgesson team, proud sponsors of Inside the Gamecocks.
Family vacations, a new car, a new boat, all cost money, but you don't necessarily have to make more to afford any of that if you can save cash that's flying out the window now. iHelp Consulting can help you finally get the kids to Disney World, upgrade the minivan, or drop that new boat in the water next summer. Let Daniel and iHelp Consulting consult with you. No fees, just savings. You pay them a percentage of those savings. Save on essential services, credit card fees, you name it. Let them find it. These folks are incredible. iHelpConsulting.com. How can I help you?
What's up? This is Jaheim Bell with the Gamecocks, and you're now listening to Inside the Gamecocks show with JC and Phil.
Welcome back to Inside the Gamecocks, the show, everybody. Remember, the first hour of the show is brought to you by Cindy Searfoss and the Coldwell Banker Kane Realty team here in the Upstate. Give Cindy a call for all your Upstate residential real estate needs, 864-414-5271. And the show in whole is brought to you by Express Sunrooms of Columbia. Give John Barber a call for your next project, 803-446-4662. I like these new breaks, JC. That's going to be a pretty good one. I'll be able to run grab some coffee during that one. Yeah, that'd be good.
Hey, and I adjusted the volume because some of our voiceover talent they're a little loud, right? Including me. So I kind of tried to get those levels run a little more smoother, man. I was like, a lot of it's time too, because I get busy during the season and stuff. And boy, I'll be busy for the next 2 weeks, but I figured I better knock it. I got up at like 4 this morning. I was like, all right, I'm going to knock this out. And I did. GWO for life in the award-winning Nana Sports chat box says on the Van and Dial podcast, I think it's Van and Rush, but yeah, it's cool. Van was saying they ran some play calls. They finally got called. They hadn't ran all year, but practice. Yeah, Beamer actually said that about the what is it? The power eye wishbone kind of thing where they threw the pass to Juju. They said they practice that every week, but they've never used it. It's a good time to break it out, right? He's like, because we always, and then the play right before they ran it right up the middle. So Clemson was playing tendencies like you should, and sometimes you get caught with your pants down. Daddy O does not agree Die Hard's a Christmas movie. He's like, A Christmas Carol is more a movie about commodities trading than Die Hard is about Christmas. Or Forrest Gump, a football movie. Grover says, do another Hallmark movie starring the ACC, JC. Yesterday was the best show yet. Yeah, I think those are two different things. How did it get on the Hallmark movie? Was that about? I thought the ACC was just like relationship, like they're in that relationship, or did I turn it into a Christmas movie?
I can't remember how Hallmark came up. I mean, we're so
I can't either.
Consciousness at times,
Yeah, I was like stream of conscious, but if the ACC were in a Hallmark movie, what I could see happening is like they're sad and at home alone because. Let's flip the script here. We could say that because Hallmark's not going to make a movie about a sad guy, right? They're not going to make a Christmas movie about I'm JC Sherbert. They're like, oh, poor JC. His woman left him. He's at home all alone. He did everything for her, and she finally, the other guy or whatever. So they're not going to follow that ACC storyline, right? So let's flip the script. Let's say the ACC is a female and put her in there. And then years ago, because she spent all this time chasing this guy years ago, and it's Christmas and she's sad. Her mom calls, hi, Mom. I'm okay. It's just really hard. Yeah, I miss him. Mom, I just put so much into it, blah, blah, blah. So there we go.
No, it's not her mom. It's Mac Brown. That's who calls her. It's
Mac Brown.
That's a wise and old father.
I want to, yeah. Mac Brown can play the dad. Yeah. Hey, Dad. How are you doing today? How are you doing, Missy? Is everything okay? I just want to make sure everything's okay. We're down here in Chapel Hill, and and then so that's the ACC, and then. So years ago, she turned her nose up at a guy that's now like a fireman. He was a fireman at the time, called West Virginia. And so she gets drunk and goes outside and slips and busts her damn head on the ice. And he just happens to be riding by, rushes her to the hospital. And he's all hunky and fireman-y, She's probably like, how should I go on that fireman about chasing that jerk Notre Dame or whatever. And so he takes West Virginia, saves her and takes her to the hospital and nurses her back to hell, gives her warm apple cider and sweet loving. And then they get together at the end, like they should have done to begin with if you weren't a snobby BI, what. Right. Yeah. So there's my take on the ACC as a Christmas movie. All right. ACC is the Bravo channel. Hunter asked if Browse isn't the lead guy. Who is? I don't know that I think there's a lot of options right now. And I know that we sat here on the show and preached urgency 2 weeks ago. So I kind of feel like a hypocrite in a bit, but I mean, shoot, man, the last 2 weeks changed everything.
And there was no way to predict that was going to happen. I mean, you'd be.
But so I think Beamer's got time to kind of figure it out. I know I'm going to get some questions. Well, what about recruiting and what about that? I think Shane Beamer and the rest of the staff they'll recruit just fine. I don't think that's going to be an issue, but I do think that is Trading Places a Christmas movie? Let me think on that, Hutch. So let me go back to Beamer. So the timeline, I can report this. Browse is in the mix, definitely. The Dan Mullen thing. There's a couple of pieces of information I got that make me lean toward maybe on him. And then Graham Harrell, I got his name confirmed. Now, there's other names out there, and I'm sure Beamer's going to look around. The one name out there, Liam Cohen from the Rams, that would be the only one I would say no. I would use the face plant emoji with that. So I can't tell you who the leader in the clubhouse is. As soon as I find out, I will let you know. Krieger says, doesn't get any better than Elf, really good one. Sonder asks, Harbor's visiting Maryland today. That kind of came out of nowhere, didn't it? Not really. Keep in mind, Sonder, the University of Maryland is inside the Beltway in College Park, Maryland. It's in D.C. That's where Harbor lives. It would be like me when I lived in Sparta. It would be like me living in Lexington and going and visiting USC. So I don't necessarily know that was like a out of nowhere kind of deal. That kind of thing. I think my internet. There it goes. Coming back there.
You're good.
KFC says, is Stone Blanton still playing basketball or baseball? Yes, that's his plan. Tyler is probably like in my shoes. Okay, Tyler. So if you go to Tampa for the bowl, we will have a beer. My wife is an unreasonable diehard Notre Dame fan. I don't think my marriage can survive if we play them in the bowl. Well, we've got something in common. Seriously. No, I mean, like, look. She's a weird fan, right? Because like the Bears will lose. She's like, it's the Bears, and she'll be disappointed and yell at the TV and stuff, or the White Sox or whatever. And don't jinx them. But only 2 times have I seen her get like emotional after a game, and they're the strangest games too. Last year on New Year's Day, she watches Notre Dame play Oklahoma State in the Fiesta Bowl. They're killing them. I'm over here watching I think I'm watching Arkansas, Penn State right here where I'm recording. And I'm like, looks like Notre Dame's got it. And then Oklahoma State came back. And for a month, she told everybody, I'm done with Notre Dame. I'm done with Notre Dame. I'm done with Notre Dame. So we're sitting there in bed watching Southern Cal Notre Dame the other night. And they're losing, and they were expected to lose. And all of a sudden I hear, just giving away my sweatshirts, just not wearing them anymore, just giving away all my stuff. I can't take this anymore. She was serious. She was like us when the Gamecocks lose. Yeah, many of you out there, I've seen you on the message board. I just can't do this anymore. I don't. Life's too hard. Short.
It's too rough. Yeah, life's too short. That's my favorite. Life's too short to be a Gamecock fan.
It's like wow. Nana Sports chat box rolls on. Xavier mentions, maybe the plane went to Atlanta to talk to someone whose name rhymes with Sean Elliott. I'll say this: Shane was not. I can confirm Shane was not on the plane. That was not Shane on the plane. I don't know who was, but not Shane. Shane on the plane. That's like Snakes on the Plane. Is that a Christmas movie?
On the plane. Yeah, that's right. I don't know.
I don't know. Yeah, and Sonder brings up a good point. Sean Elliott's family lives in Columbia. Yeah, so that's not a hard one there. Clint says you should have encouraged her to get rid of all her Notre Dame stuff, JC. No, I'm like freedom. You get freedom around my house, right? To pull for every team except like one.
Yeah, right. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, there's only one off-limits team in my home. Yeah.
And trust me, I had a girlfriend before I had this one, and that was tough. That was brutal. 76s. I'm 44. I'm a man. The newspaper is garbage, and the editor that let it out is garbage. Look, man, when everybody talks about I'm a man, but you know how he insulted what he said to her? Like, you're not a mother and you maybe never will be. I mean, I'm like, whoa, dude. He'd get fired if he did that now.
Yeah, epic. You could not get away with that now.
No. He does say some stuff people try to cancel him for every now and then. He's just he doesn't care. Yeah.
So
Shane on the plane.
We can do.
Yeah.
Nobody cares.
He's Mike Gundy. We've come to expect it.
Yeah.
Shane on a plane is Gamecocks fan version of Elf on a Shelf.
Shane on the plane. Wake up, Shane's on a plane and somewhere different.
Jesse says we'd love to see Sean come coach the offensive line. That's not something I can rule out. I'll just say that. I can't rule that out. Gamecock fan brings up a point here about Dan Mullen. It's like, and I want to say this. Look, I didn't think what happened with Torian Gray at Florida was fair to Torian, because I'm like, oh, really? You have one of the worst defensive coordinators in the history of the SEC. Everybody's carved him up like, save me the neck, Clark, like the Christmas turkey. He's volatile. I mean, Steve Spurrier loved coaching against Todd Grantham, man. A lot of people do. And there were some games where he would shut people down, but Florida, Mississippi, wherever he was, man, not that good. And you're gonna punt Torian Gray. It didn't make any sense to me. But I'll say this: with all this stuff, Mullen's a jerk. Mullen doesn't fit the culture. Mullen doesn't do this. I'll tell you this right now: Shane Beamer, look. So Shane Beamer. So Matt. I'll compare this to Matt Luke. So Matt Luke, I think, after his second year at Ole Miss, they're like, you need to improve or you're going to get fired. And so he went out and hired Rich Rodriguez as OC and McIntyre as his DC, redid his coordinators. And that to me was sort of desperate, an act of desperation, if you will, on the part of Luke. But I think he had just maybe lost the Egg Bowl or something like that. And, you don't do that at Ole Miss. And he was kind of an internal promotion anyway. So he got a mandate and he had a lot of pressure on him. And sometimes, that's when you make desperation moves. Shane Beamer is about to probably double his salary. He's not only beloved by the Gamecock. Everybody's happy with Shane right now, right? Beloved, the national media. I mean, look, he's hosting on the SEC. He's hosting with Marty and McGee in SEC Nation tomorrow before the SEC championship game. I can't remember a South Carolina coach being asked to do that. Hottest coach in the nation, right? So Shane does not have to make desperate decisions, right? And I say that to say this. So let's say hypothetically rumors are true and he, does, and Dan Mullen's the guy. Shane is not going to make that move if he thinks it's going to poison his culture, and he's not going to make that move if it offends his friend of 40 years, Torian Gray, who he kind of grew up with, and Torian was with him at Virginia Tech and with his dad. If Torian has a huge problem with it, it's not going to happen.
No. And it's not like he's going to, take off somebody just from an operational perspective who's one of the best coaches, obviously, on staff.
Yeah, it's no
culture
doubt,
notwithstanding. Yeah,
yeah. There's a lot of good OCs out there. Mullen probably has the best resume of all of them, but there's a lot of good OCs out there. Joey says, saw today Atkins is out recruiting at high schools. Yeah, I'm going to explain this too, because Arkansas fans on their message board the other day, like Kendall Browse is out recruiting as well. Well, let me rephrase that. The Gamecock, they haven't hit the road yet. They hit the road Monday, I think it's Monday. And what they did was Sat leaving. You want to put 10 on the road, right? All your assistants. And so Atkins is going to go on the road. And Greg's really good at this, by the way. Like a lot of these guys, Carolina gets in on early and stuff, are the result of him hustling, going by high schools, getting tape, talking to people. He's very good at it. And it's it's less stressful than getting out on the football field coaching because you're running around the heat and all this good stuff. So I think he can handle it. A little travel here. And they put Lonnie Teasley on the road too. And what I was going to say, Arkansas fans took it as a sign that Kendall Browse was not leaving because he was out recruiting. And I'll tell this little story. I was at the Shrine Bowl of the Carolinas in 2007, after 07. Tyrone Nix is standing there in his Gamecock shirt, and the next thing you know, there's a report that Tyrone Nix has taken the Ole Miss defensive coordinator job. And he confirmed it. He's like, yep, I'm gone. It's a tricky time of the year where guys, you have to go have guys recruit and do their job. Guys are going to do their job right up until the point that they go do it someplace else. I think
you do your job until it's not your job. Yeah.
Yeah. I think what was telling about Sap was just like, oh, you got it? Well, shoot, go on, get your office cleaned out. Great. Best of luck. That's a good deal. Hutch says,
I love the meme they put out about, the production over the last two games. And then it was like, Tennessee, this and that, Clemson, this and that. And then a week later, off to Lincoln, look what we got. And I'm like, hey, more power to you. Enjoy.
All I got to say to that is go Big Red.
Go Big Red, GBR.
I know you Panthers fans hate Matt Rule. I love Matt Rule. Love him. And in all seriousness, I think Matt Rule could win there because he's what you do in the pros if you're a good college coach doesn't matter. I mean, shoot, we saw Bobby Petrino win 3 games with the Falcons and only last 13 games, and in 2 years at Arkansas, he's winning 11 games. It doesn't matter. Is Mike Gundy a Christmas movie? Heck, it's funny. Xavier mentions when he was younger, he forbade himself from marrying a Clemson fan. I tell you, it would have to be an awfully good relationship. I'll even go so far as to say it would have to be a very giving relationship on her end, and to leave it at that. He ended up marrying a Florida fan. Florida girls are cool. I like Florida girls. I've had Tennessee girls before I met this one, Notre Dame. One Clemson for 4 years, but I honestly don't think I don't know that was ever going to be long term, just to be honest. A Georgia fan, Tennessee, Alabama. I've hit the SEC up pretty good. Lucky to know football's not round, but Tennessee, and all that. And then, Gamecocks too. GWO for life says, go sleep on the couch, clown. Clint says, Matt Luke did a good job considering the circumstances. Jesse says, JC, seems like Spencer is set to leave. Would you give the nod to Luke or try to invest in Braden or Tanner? Don't know where you're seeing that. Let me know where you're seeing that because I just saw that Shane said Rattler's playing in the bowl game. Luke's not gonna. I don't know if you're talking about next year or the bowl. Luke won't play the bowl because they won't do his red shirt. That kind of thing. Blah, blah. Saw Ra Thomas is transferring from Mississippi State. Wasn't he a Gamecock commit at one point? Is that his nickname? What's his other name? I mean, I don't remember a Ra being committed to Carolina. Just let me know. I'll get back to you on that. 76 is maybe we keep Atkins as an analyst and Teasley can coach the O-line. I mean, it just depends on Greg Atkins' health. Ra Thomas is, what's his name? Gamecock fan on Mullen. He adds, I thought if Shane wanted Mullen, he would talk to Gray first. I think so too. Justin says, married a Tar Heel fan. Have I dated a Tar Heel? High school? Junior high? No. Yeah, junior high Tar Heel fan. Right here. Let's just go.
Yeah, Rodarius.
Rodarius Thomas.
Rodarius Jaquan Thomas.
I don't remember him being committed. Where's he from?
Eufaula, Alabama City. Eufaula, Alabama High School. Eufaula.
That may be that kid. Yeah, he may have been committed. I remember them having he's Bobby had him committed, I think. As far as portal guys, I don't know. Once guys start getting into the portal, they're going to kind of sort them out. I can tell you they're going to be pretty active. But as far as like their portal board, they don't know except rumors, who's in until they're in, and then they'll do that, all that thing. Jesse says, who calls the games with Todd Ellis? Because he sounds just like Phil. I don't know
I'm
if Phil
flattered that you think that I sound like Tommy. Of course, that would mean that I sound like I've been doing this for 50 years and I'm a septuagenarian. So I'll take that as a compliment.
Yeah, I remember now, GC fan, Rodarius Thomas. Yeah, Bobby Bentley had him committed out of Eufaula. And so, yeah, he decommitted, or maybe they dropped him. I don't remember exactly how all that went down. So we'll see. I mean, we'll see if he gets back in or not. Krager says Beamer on Chuck Oliver said no one's told him they aren't playing in the bowl. So that's it. Clint says I don't think he was ever committed to us. He may have just been a target, but I remember Bentley was recruiting him. I think he was. Yeah, he was. He was committed for a while, and then things started to kind of fall apart on that. So Nana Sports chat box right here on Inside the Gamecocks, the show. Michael Flint coming up. I'm sure Michael's a happy man today. And kind of some of the stuff he said going into the games the last 2 weeks, Phil, about how to attack the defenses and stuff. That's what Carolina did, and they
exactly what kind of panned out. Yeah,
yeah. Well, it's rare you're sitting here on a talk show and anybody says something that makes any sense when you apply it to the weekend. But it was pretty good there. Ashley says since Cam Smith signed with an agent, he wouldn't be eligible to play in the bowl now. I thought they changed the agent rules because of NIL.
Under NIL? Yeah, that's what I thought. It was different.
Or maybe it's that thing. Are we going to go after Ali Jennings, a wide receiver out of Old Dominion? I don't. If he's good, depending on where he went to high school, yes. But they're not. Like I said, guys, you can ask me about guys, but understand like the coaching staff, they're not sitting there going, oh, Ali Jennings is in, he's a yes, or Rodriguez Thomas there, he's a no. The portal hadn't even opened. They're kind of formulating lists and stuff like that. I've got the name of a few guys, but I won't know until the picture kind of, the picture gets painted, so to speak. And because the coaching staff doesn't know. They what they do in the portal, they identify needs and then they go evaluate and go, oh, well, this guy's good or whatever.
Danny O brings up a really good point, though. I was going to say we're in a better position than 3 weeks ago. Options. That's the good thing now is we are now a prime destination. I mean, just turned it around for not only players but coaches. That's the good thing is that Beamer's phone's blowing up from recruits as well as potential hires.
Well, no, there's no doubt. I mean, there's no doubt about it. And you look at it, it's like all of a sudden. Man, oh man, the whole trajectory's changed. And I think, too, if you're a portal guy, especially if you're from a lower level school, like I said, you look at it, South Carolina had 3 players that made big plays in the football game Saturday. One's from East Tennessee State, one's from James Madison, and one's from Wingate. Brooks, Nate Atkins, and Juice Wells, and they've done pretty well with lower level guys too. I mean, I think as far as that goes, and if you look at the NFL draft numbers and data and all that, there's a lot of guys from FCS and Group of 5 that do get drafted. I mean, you can't take a whole roster from Group of 5 and expect to compete, but position here, because there's always guys that are better, than what the level of college football they're playing on is. So that's my take there. Hope people believe me, because sometimes people will sit there and go, oh, why didn't they recruit? Why are they recruiting these guys that don't have SEC experience? And then I could point out probably 10 guys that have gone from one SEC school to another, and they can't cut it at one, so they can't cut it at the other. And all that. And then there are guys like Juice that just blow up. And then there are guys like that were at one school that go to another that are both Power 5 and powerhouses that play well, like Caleb Williams and 25 other guys that Southern Cal's Lincoln Riley got out of the portal last year. So there you go. But I do think that, for real, I think that they're going to target a lot of different guys from different levels, and we'll see sort of, where they go, what position. Obviously, I think linebacker and edge on defense, maybe corner, some guys at all three levels probably. Offensive tackle they offered. You see this kid they offered yesterday. He's at the University of Rhode Island. Carolina offered him. He has 23 offers from the portal. And so, they're after him and all that. So look, it's just and I think what the staff's planning on doing is, try to capitalize on this momentum with visits and recruits and interest and all that, and just let the chips fall where they may. Last year, nobody would have expected they would have gotten Stogner and Rattler out of the portal. When Juice Wells came through, he had Florida, Texas, North Carolina offers, and they shut all those guys down and got them. So, and I think some of them were before the bowl, so they were a 6-6 football team that had just gotten shut out by Clemson. Now, they're one of the hottest teams in college football. So, we'll see sort of what happens there. All right, about to get to break. We'll have Flint come in. Again, breaks are a little shorter these days with the show here. By the way, update on the poll. Die Hard is Die Hard a Christmas movie? Yes, 56.9%. No, 43.1%.
Oh, it's tight. Yeah.
So there you go. It's tight. There's a lot of talk about it and all that good stuff. All right. So we'll be back here after these messages inside the Gamecocks, the show.
Just as your State Farm agent combines good neighbor service with surprisingly great rates, you can combine your home, auto, life, or small business insurance with Tony Pope State Farm Insurance today. And guess what you'll get? That's right, even more good neighbor service with surprisingly great rates. In fact, Tony Pope State Farm is your go-to agent anywhere in South Carolina, North Carolina, or Georgia for the service you deserve at the price you want. So try combining your home, life, auto, and or small business insurance today. Tony Pope State Farm has been in business for more than 30 years and can handle anything you need in the tri-state area. Once again, Tony Pope State Farm will help you mix and match perfectly. Call 843-851-2222 or visit TonyPope.com today. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
Whoop, easy. He's got a tiger by the tail, he has.
He better hang on too.
People have spoken. Nana's Porch was voted the third best food truck or trailer by the Charlotte newspaper Public Poll. Also, their pimento cheese took third in a contest exclusively for products made in the state of North Carolina. I will let Noah Hall tell you about the rest. Nana's Porch, Southern cuisine with an uptown twist. If you're in the upstate of South Carolina and are in need of residential real estate services, Cindy Bass, Searfoss of Caldwell Banker Kane is for you. Ask her about the Village at Creekside, all of her listings in my hometown of Spartanburg, South Carolina, right there on Daniel Morgan Avenue, married to a lifelong Gamecock fan. And many of our listeners have already bought homes from her and been 100% satisfied with the detail and care she uses. Cindy Searfoss, 864-414-5271, Caldwell Banker Kane in the upstate for your real estate needs.
Nice. Welcome back, everybody. A little Sanford and Son action to bring you back to the show here. Love it. Love it. Second hour of the show, y'all, is brought to you by the Burgesson team at Remax at the Lake. Give Adam or Derek a call or shoot Adam an email at aburgesson. That's ABERGESON. And don't forget Meredith McKellar Enterprises, Meredith Taylor. We have not polished up her latest ad spots, but check out McKellarEnterprises.org. She is actually doing some gift certificates here for the Christmas season, so that would be great for the golfers in your homes. Hit up Meredith at Mayor Taylor on Twitter or shoot her an email. What is it, McKellar? I can't remember what her email address is, but go to her website, McKellarEnterprises.org. Yeah. Hit her up on Twitter at Mayor Taylor. Mm-hmm.
And by the way, go ahead. Sorry.
No. I was just going to say, she's booking the virtual lessons right now for after the first of the year. got her gift certificates up, and we'll even do some one-on-one instruction with you. Just get in touch with her, and she'll be happy to get you moving.
Inside the Gamecocks, the show presented by Express Sunrooms of Columbia rolls on. Did want to give a shout out to Eric Kimry. We know Eric was at Carolina, and Eric took the job at Baylor in Chattanooga. They won the state championship. How about that? They beat Brentwood Academy for the first time ever, I believe, on their way to doing it. And then I think beat Montgomery Bell Academy, if I'm not mistaken, another big Nashville private school. Oh, my gosh. Oh, Sheaves. Oh, my God, I can't believe Montgomery Bell lost. Oh. Anyway, the other day. But we're joined by somebody who's probably known a few Sheaves in his life and told him to go get, well, never mind. Michael Flint, Wando in the house. Hey, you have to be glowing this week, man. A lot of it's been about 9 years of misery until last Saturday.
That's kind of what we were after the game. It's like we got all year. We finally got a year, 365 days.
Yeah,
what a game, man! What a game.
Well, you called some of like when Spencer got out of the pocket and Rattler got out of the pocket and threw the 72-yard touchdown to Juice Wells. I kind of heard you say, "Get him out of the pocket," and they did, and it was one of the biggest plays of the game. So, how did you kind of see that unfolding? What did I thought Carolina as a team did a great job of overcoming adversity, continuing to fight or whatever. But I thought at some point, you just kind of realize Clemson's not going to let them run the ball. So you got to find another way to do it, and they did.
Yeah, I'll tell you that. What Spencer's been able to do the last couple of games has been very impressive. You can see his talent, the arm talent that he has, the mobility. He's not the fastest guy in the world, not the shiftiest, but he can make plays with his legs. And you saw what happens kind of when you can get him a clean pocket, however that may be, whether that's, it drop back and the offensive line is just better than the guys in front of him, or if you got to move the pocket a little bit by getting him kind of outside and moving that pocket around, you can see how good he can be, how accurate he can be. And, I think we've taken for granted a little bit how well that he has thrown the deep ball. And you go back and look and you see the deep balls that, DJ was throwing versus the deep balls that Rattler was throwing. Rattler threw a catchable ball, every single ball downfield, which was huge. And you can see a lot, with throw to Juice Wells. I think a lot of that, you see how accurate he can be and how good he really is and how he's got a really good arm. It seems like he could throw it a mile, but he's got great touch as well. And it was on full display the last couple of weeks, especially against Clemson. He did have a couple of tough, interceptions there, but you see how good he really can be when you can get him a clean pocket to throw out of. And we were under the gun a little bit with not being able to run the football. It's hard to be successful in the passing game like that when you're trying to run it and you don't have success. We were getting stuffed early and often. I mean, there was no room to run. And I haven't really rewatched the game at all, but I don't know what really happened as far as not being able to get pushed. Is it the linemen? Is it the splits that the linemen have? Is that kind of attributed to some of that? But Clemson does have a really good defensive line. They're tough up front. We started to break them a little bit in the second half, being able to have a little success running the ball. I love the fact that we started utilizing quick game to the receivers, which is, almost an extension of the run, those balls to the flat. We knew we weren't going to be able to run the football. And I think, Satterfield did a really good job of using those receivers as an extension of the run, being able to get the ball quick to the receivers and get 5-6 yards on first down to give us really good down and distance situations. But it was, overall, I thought it was a well-called game. We didn't try to force the run like we had in the past. We knew we weren't going to have success running the ball, and we did other things to try and, use an extension of the run to be able to set up plays downfield. I think that play call to Nate Atkins, I think, was huge. Getting him out of the backfield, I think we had said, we got to be able, with Nate Atkins in the backfield, we got to be able to get him the football.
You said that Friday, yeah.
Yeah, in the passing game. That was a huge play. I think probably the ballsiest call of all was that fourth down throw to Juju. I mean, I didn't see that coming. I'll tell you, I was in shock. I thought we were running it, and I was like, here we go. And when Spencer came up and threw that ball, I mean, it was a beautifully thrown ball. God, it was so impressive. But I think we learned a lot about Shane Beamer. We learned a lot about this program and the direction it's headed. I know we talked last week about, everything against Tennessee went right. Everything went right. Didn't have to face adversity. You saw how we reacted. But going on the road, we knew there was going to be adversity. We knew Carolina was going to face adversity. And you saw how these guys reacted. Being down 14-0. In other years with other head coaches at certain points in time, does Carolina fold? A lot of times, yeah. But you look at the fight in those guys, and I tell you, by the end of the first half, I had a really good feeling. And I was talking to my brother-in-law and my brothers, and I said, this game just has a different feel to it. It's got a different feel. And I said, if we come out and stop them in the opening drive of the second half, I like our chances. And we don't allow them to score. And dang it, we didn't come out and stop them, get the ball back, go down and score. And it was from then on, I said, man, I think we're going to win this game. I think we should have won by more, based on some of the turnovers and where they were, some of the non-calls, the lateral. That should have been a scoop and score. There's no way that wasn't a lateral. But all things said, I think, Beamer's called a lot of flack about, the positivity and find some joy and continuing to stay upbeat and not allow negativity and a lot of these questions after tough games to really drag him down, to drag the program down, taking ownership. And all of that, you can see how all that is being taken in the building, between the players, the locker room, the camaraderie. I think it's, we learned a lot about this program and the direction this program is headed these last couple of weeks, which has been really fun to watch because it's been a long time since I think our program as a whole has been on that trajectory. And I think it's massive. And I think Coach Beamer has, really solidified, that he trusts, in what he's building as a program. He's never wavered from it. The team has never wavered from it. They've all been there behind him the whole time. And, I think as a fan, myself feeling the frustration after some games, like Florida, like Missouri, was there. And it was, but then you think about it as a player and you're like, you got to stay the course. You have to stay the course, continue to believe in what, continue to believe in what Coach Beamer's saying, continue to believe in what he's preaching, what the culture is, what the environment is. And these last couple of games has really solidified, I've always believed in them, but I think it solidified the fan base's, trust and belief and in the program and the direction it's going. And I think the players have always bought in, but you just look at how these guys handle adversity. It's amazing. And I think you look at Coach Beamer as a leader and, there wasn't a better guy for this job than him.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think to that point too, Michael, everybody's talking about Beamer Ball, Beamer Ball 2.0, and the original Beamer Ball, of course, is special teams and defense. His father comes up with that, finds ways to win when he knew he had a deficit on offense. But I think the iteration that we see now, it does, yes, have an emphasis on defense and special teams, obviously. But I think that speaks more like Shane's Beamer Ball is a lot different than his father's, and that I think it's a cultural thing. I think it's an internal and inside out kind of deal from within the program. And I think the Clemson game really was just embodied that his spirit. It was like the team just played with that spirit that, a lot of people laughed at and denigrated, in the hype and the preseason and, when we're losing and, not scoring offensive touchdowns in Florida, but it was just like that fight, that he instilled in them just really showed up exactly when it needed to.
Oh, there's no doubt about it. You look at just the overall attitude and effort from the team. 100% right. I think, as far as, looking at everything with defense and special teams and, how it's all done. I completely agree. I think, the MVP of the game on Saturday was Kai Kroger. You go back and look at what he did. It is, really is amazing. The field position, the way we were able to flip the field position on Clemson to be able to make it a positive for us. I mean, there, a couple times did they drive it down the field opening? Yeah, I mean, they sustained, they had some drives, but they were going to have to go. They were going to have to earn it. Every score they had, they were going to have to earn it. And him being able to pin them inside the 5, inside the 10 was unbelievable. And just the average, I think that he deserves a lot of credit. The worst punt of the afternoon, Nate Atkins with the fumble. I mean, you look at that. I mean, the effort and the way that Coach Beamer and Coach Limbo are able to exploit things just based on personnel. I mean, I think JC read an article. I forgot who wrote it. Might have been you, but the matchups that we exploited on special teams, with Nate Atkins on, Drew Sweeney or, something like that. The way that we were able to match up against them was so favorable, and Clemson was set up to fail from the beginning. I mean, we, outcoached them on special teams, and special teams is one thing that won the football game. You always say there's, it's not just offense and defense. There's 3 aspects to the game, and special teams is just as important as the other 2. And, Coach White deserves a whole hell of a lot of credit as well by the adjustments that we made defensively and the way that defensive line came out to play in the second half, because, man, it was impressive. They were disruptive anytime DJ dropped back to throw the football. I think he looked like Sam Darnold, at points in time where Sam Darnold said, I'm seeing ghosts out there. I mean, the guys were disruptive. We were bringing guys from different places, and secondary, was on time, was on point. I mean, to hold them to that amount of yards with the interceptions, I think is just impressive in itself. And I think you kind of saw the culmination of a season of ups and downs, highs and lows of the first of the 11 games previous all come together. Last weekend.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. Michael Flint won. So do you have a bowl preference? Everybody seems to be the subject of some debate and all that. So any preference on the bowl?
I think any of the options that we have that we're up for are great. For me, I think looking where we were 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, I think, we'd have taken anything just to get to a bowl. And at this point, I think the options that we have, we got to look and be appreciative of, where we are now versus where we were. But I think, I think this is, like we've talked about, program changing moments in these last couple of weeks. I mean, from a recruiting standpoint and everything else, I think we have a massive opportunity in front of us, no matter which bowl we go to, whether it be ReliaQuest, Citrus, or the Gator Bowl. I think with the opponents that are being thrown around out there by who we could potentially face, Notre Dame or Florida State, the quality of team that we have an opportunity to go play against is massive. I think being able to go to the Citrus Bowl, I think, is huge. I think any of them are really good. I think the Gator Bowl would be phenomenal. But any 3 is you're playing in Florida around New Year's, and I mean that means that you've had a pretty good year. You've had a good year, and I don't really mind. I think the Citrus will be fun. The exposure for the program would be unbelievable. Being able to play in that bowl game.
Absolutely. I think playing Notre Dame too, that would that automatically, because they have such a big fan base, and they get so many TV eyeballs, and they're Notre Dame. I mean, and if you think about it, if they go to Tampa and let's say they win, South Carolina, this is a crazy stat. South Carolina will be 5-1 in the ReliaQuest / Outback Bowl, right? They'll beat Notre Dame once, Ohio State twice, and Michigan twice. So they will have run the Midwest trifecta, right? Those are 3 pretty storied football programs, right?
I mean, you say that, you look at it, golly.
Yeah, it's nuts.
I kind of smile thinking about it, and but then I wake up with night terrors and dread because my fiance is a Notre Dame fan. I'm not going to be able to sleep in the house. So it's already
It's a no win for you.
Stop sweating that.
Yeah.
It's a no win. All right. Well, Mike, man, we're going to get out of here. We kind of did our little segments. We're doing shorter segments, more breaks now. So we're going to wrap it up with you. But we really appreciate you the whole season. We'll get back in touch soon before the bowl, break down the matchup and all that, and just appreciate your insight and what you bring to the table.
Yeah, guys, I've enjoyed it, man. It's been a fun year. A lot of highs and a lot of lows, but it all kind of evened out at the end, and that trajectory is still going up. So it's been a fun one, and I've enjoyed it. I've enjoyed it. Anytime you get to come on and talk football is always a good time.
Yeah, it's a blessing. Man. It really is, man. It really is. All right, buddy. We'll talk to you soon.
Yeah, man. Talk to y'all later. Go Cox.
Yes, sir.
Michael Wando Flint joins us every Friday. During the season. I'll point that out. We're going to get him back on before the bowl, but we'll flip things up with our lineup and stuff, and obviously have some guys that are seasonal, some guys that aren't, that kind of thing. Charles comes in the chat box and says, LOL, I wish I loved anything as much as Gamecock Media loves Kimry.
I saw that.
I think he's saying it, dude. I think he said, what did Eric Kimry do to you, man? He's a former player. He's a former coach that was here last year. He won a state championship in his first year. Gosh, I mean, tough crowd, right?
Right,
Charles?
yeah.
Find some joy, man.
Find some joy.
Macadino says,
were you not entertained?
Were you not entertained? Macadino says, serious question. Would we beat Bama this year right now on a neutral field? No. I don't think. I just not. Bama's not bad, man. I mean, they lost by a field goal. I mean, hey, look, it would be more competitive than last time Carolina played Bama.
I was just about to say that. We'll damn sure give them a game.
Yeah. Cynical makes this point here. Dabo made his entire staff, including the secretaries, watch the game film, the replay. He wanted everyone to assure him that Clemson was the better team. On Saturday, I don't know. If anything, Carolina blew all right, so Carolina blew. They threw a pick six, so Clemson's defense scored that point. That was a mistake. They threw a pick in the end zone. That's 2 touchdowns. That's another mistake. The last touchdown Clemson got was on a busted coverage. So that was a mistake. There was the horrible call on the lateral. So that was one that could have gone the Gamecocks' way. Darius Rush dropped a pick 6. Yes, Clemson made mistakes at the end, especially the fumble on the punt that cost them the game. They could have won. I didn't get the sense they were the better team, especially when in the second half. And look, on that day, I was asked about the guys on Tiger Net. So, well, Clemson would have won 8 out of 10 times. Maybe not. I don't know. It didn't seem like it on Saturday to me because, it was South Carolina's mistakes that allowed Clemson to have the lead. And then South Carolina adjusted on defense, and Clemson went nowhere.
The better team does not lose with a 14-point lead.
Yeah. So, a nervous. Yeah. So anyway, that's fine. People are going to talk. Krager says, don't down whenever Notre Dame just yet. Natalia says, Dabo did that crap-seeking point fingers. The man's ego is out of control.
I mean, my first reaction to that was, what an incredible narcissistic thing to do.
Connor makes a good point, though, on Kai. That is narcissistic.
It really is, I mean, geez, just stare at your reflection in the water, Dabo. Go right ahead.
See, that's why I'm considering taking North Carolina this weekend.
Yeah. Hey, listen, with that offense, it's like pull a score out of your hat, I mean, what do you got to lose?
Well, think about this. I think North Carolina's offense can score on Clemson's. Mm-hmm. I have questions about – North Carolina's defense is not that good, but I have questions about DJ. If you spent all week talking about South Carolina and how you can't believe you lost, how are you trying to get you ready to play a championship? I don't know. It's kind of interesting.
It's interesting, because even though it's like we still have all our goals in front of us, I was like, yeah, you know what? You wanted to get back to the playoff, and that's been ruined by your arch enemy. And so some of your players are already thinking about, and we're hearing buzzing around, some portal departures. So you obviously don't have everybody's head in the game. So no, I'm kind of thought about that too, JC.
Yeah.
May take North Carolina. May take. Yeah.
Sonder mentions a 70-yard touchdown to Juice had a missed false start. Yeah, it was very, very subtle, though. You have to slow it down. But I get you there.
But I think
by the way,
touchdown on the busted coverage, they were in an illegal formation, weren't they? And they just didn't get called.
Yeah, they had 5 men in the backfield.
Yeah.
By the way, Lance, shout out to your Johnsonville High School Flashes. See, we don't just shout out Eric Kimmery.
That's right.
I actually had a buddy that had some when I was a kid and we lived in Myrtle Beach briefly between 8th and 9th grade. I had a buddy named Ricky that we went and played ball together, basketball and stuff. And he's from Johnsonville. So and of course there's the sausages. I don't think it's the same Johnsonville, but
might be different.
I know Johnsonville. They got a long proud football tradition. And so I wish you guys the best. Go Flashes. And they're probably playing somebody else's school. And they're going to get pissed at me and be like, "Oh no, not that team, not the Flashes." So Clint says Dabo seems to have an unhealthy obsession with Carolina. Well, look, he was on staff with Tommy Bowden, who absolutely owned the Gamecocks, 7-2, lost by 3, and lost by 3 when he missed a field goal on the last play of the game. The other one lost by 5 when they almost had the catch part 3 in 0-1. So he owned the Gamecocks, right? Let's just be fair. Dabo's 8-6. It's been the best run. He's built Clemson into what everybody always thought. Hey, they're in the ACC. They can win national championships, whatever. And taking it to it's never been as good as it is now. Clemson football. And the one team he's lost to more than any other team, South Carolina.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, it was a win against South Carolina is what got him the job. So, it's like he knows that a loss eventually could move him right along.
Yeah. Lance says they play Christ Church. So, yeah, that's a buddy whose kid went to Christ Church. It's from Greenville way, Yeah. I'm kind of hoping you'll win over the Augusta Road crowd over there. You got to owe it to them and win. All right, we got to go to a break, and we'll be right back. So we'll have this break, then we'll have last break, and then we'll be out on the week and on Friday. Inside the Gamecocks, the show rolls on after these messages. Hey, man, are you sick and tired of your business computer guy?
Yes, he takes forever to call me back and doesn't always respond to the requests.
Yeah, same here. I'm paying him good money. I constantly have issues, and I'm worried he's not backing up my network and securing it properly.
Oh, I feel that, man. My head hurts, but I have a good lead on a good idea. I'm calling your boy Matthew Odom today from Heritage Digital. Heritage Digital is an IT firm that specializes in making sure your IT network runs like a dream. If you have 1 or 500 employees, it doesn't matter. They do it all for one monthly fee and have clients from South Carolina all the way to California.
Yeah, I heard that monthly fee's low too, so I don't know why I didn't even think of that. Do you have 843-699-1001 as Matt's contact number?
Yeah, man, I sure do that. Or you can go to heritagedigital.com.
Man, I hear they do a no-cost assessment. Boy, this will help me.
Yeah, I bet.
I'm getting on that and encouraging everyone else to do the same. Heritage Digital, 843-699-1001 or heritagedigital.com, a proud sponsor of Inside the Gamecocks, the show.
You can't handle the truth.
Gamecock Nation, do you need a place to stay for the big game? Many hotel booking engines keep all the commissions, but at Fan Plans, you support Inside the Gamecocks, still earn your hotel loyalty points, and you receive an email with direct confirmation from the hotel. Whether you are visiting Columbia to cheer on Carolina or hitting the road to follow the team, get in the stands with Fan Plans.
Yep, time to get back to the show. Shoot. All right, my man.
Welcome back to Inside the Gamecocks, the show, everybody. Second hour of the show is brought to you by the Burgesson team at Remax at the Lake. Give Adam or Derek a call or shoot them an email at aburgesson, that's ABERGESON, at remax.net. And, of course, the show is brought to you by Express Sunrooms at Columbia. Give John Barber a call, 803-446-4662 for your next big project at home.
All righty. Lance, by the way, if you want to Columbia, he's like, which we're playing tonight. The whole town is headed to Columbia. That's awesome, man. And he's like, going to be all toasted, but I'm going to keep it OG tonight. That's good. That's good. Tiffany brings up a point about the NCAA and NIL. This is very frustrating, right? Because it did seem in the guidance like it was like, oh, you can raise money for your collectives, but you can't give them money, and you can't give student. I mean, it seems like they almost were targeting the Gamecock idea or thing when they said it. In some ways, maybe not. But this is how hypocritical. She said, all right, so here's her question. Anyone getting tired of the NCAA that wanted nothing to do with NIL? You know, they said nothing when these Tennessee guys got $24 million from Haslam and those folks, and they're flying around in private jets, meeting with recruits. You know, that we were not enticing them. This contract doesn't say they have to go to Tennessee. Oh, you're gonna give them that $9 million? They don't go to Tennessee. You're wearing an orange blazer. You have a big T on the side of your jet. Okay. Well, all right. Okay. Yeah. If you're Nick, I will do Nick Saban. All right. You know. So yeah, they didn't say anything about that. You didn't hear anything, but you know, then they come up with these weird guidelines. Well, the collectives can, and it's almost like you know, we're going to nail everybody to the wall we can if they don't follow our BS rules to the letter of the law, right? But we're going to do everything we can to avoid being sued by a collective. I mean, and you got people like Gene Smith. Okay, I want to say this. I'm going to say this, and I can't prove it. I can't prove it, but I know it. Gene Smith is the athletic director at Ohio State, one of the biggest hypocrites in college football, right? So he comes out because he's on some committee or something, right? And it's like, well, gosh, we can't have this pay for play. These guys, it's getting into recruiting. It's got to get totally out of recruiting. Well, so then you talk to some coaches at three different schools. Thanks, Kat.
Yeah.
Thanks, Kat, for three coaches at three different schools that are like, yeah, we're not going to get this kid. He's going to Ohio State. Why? Well, there's about $3 million. Why? 3 million reasons why. You've got Urban Meyer, who's bored out of his mind, probably, sitting up there leading a collective. I mean, James Franklin even had to call out his own fan base at Penn State about it. You know, and yet the athletic director from Ohio State's up there. Oh, God, we have to. And, folks, that's the Big Ten. That's the Big Ten. It is the most hypocritical, ridiculous conference in the whole. A bunch of charlatans in that league that run that league. I love the schools in that league. I love the fans in that league. But the way it's run, where they act like they're the Ivy League, you know, in front of everybody, and then behind the scenes, they're just shoveling out cash. Their schools play the race card in recruiting against schools down south. They trash academics. I mean, they're not dirty in the sense like the Southwest Conference, you know, where everybody's got behind. But make no mistake about it, man. Ohio State. I mean, you just don't go get all those kids from the South and Texas that they do without having some kind of operation. Okay, and in the NIL world, Ohio State is paying out just as much as anybody else. Okay. So they're very hypocritical. And the fact that Smith is such a big player in the NCAA to me is hilarious. Because look, it's okay if you want to like uphold the spirit of amateurism, do all this crap or whatever kind of, you know, pie in the sky thinking you've held on to for all these years. You want to keep doing that, that's fine. That's fine with me. But when you've got people up there that are charlatans, their own schools, they're kind of what they do is pick and choose their battles so that their own schools are successful. That's called cheating. That's right, cheating.
Yeah.
You know, and what South Carolina was doing, I don't see how in the world that's cheating. by
leave it to the
in-house.
NCAA to try to stifle innovation, right? You had your
Yeah,
opportunity. You had your opportunity to set guidelines ahead of this. You completely abdicated your responsibilities, cowered, as you did at the beginning of the pandemic. Most of these influences, hid in the damn corners and all of that, and just completely threw in the towel. And now somebody's coming out with new and innovative ideas that scare you because it didn't come from one of your blue blood programs or something like that. And you realize that as the conferences get larger, your influence is going to continue to dwindle over the years. And now you're just grasping at straws, trying to throw in everybody's face, hey, we're still here and we're trying to remain relevant at the cost of innovation, new names, fresh blood, screw off. It's done. Your basketball tournament isn't worth getting rid of all this, I don't know, free thinking. I mean, that's what it is, JC. It's just stifling creativity and free thought.
Very elitist, totalitarian, totalitarian elitists. That's what they are. And look, I'll say this too: if Ohio State had started a Park Avenue or Alabama or someplace like that, do you think that would be it? And look, we don't know yet. USC sort of thought they'd be okay, right? Because USC actually checked. I mean, they didn't just start this and go, well, better to ask for forgiveness than to ask, ask permission, right? They didn't. They went through the lawyer, the law. They went through it, and then you get this fuzzy guidance, amazingly, right after it comes out. And so what the NCAA is basically saying, because some of these collectives are rogue organizations, right? They're saying it's okay if the rogue organizations exist, which is the total opposite of how they've always operated. You want to know why football coaches can't go to the Shrine Bowl, and that dozens of kids from North and South Carolina every year that could play at the Power 5 level or the Group of 5 level don't, because only FCS coaches can go. It's because they wanted to get the quote unquote AAU people out of basketball, so they passed one big rule and it affected everybody, right? So the football coaches can't go to all-star games because of it. It's ridiculous. So now what they're saying is, I thought you wanted to take the power, out of the hands of these third parties. Now you're just funneling it back in along with millions of dollars. Come on. Now we don't have,
because they only support one third party having any influence, which is, their own organization.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you this too, before you guys think we have millions of dollars at Carolina Rise, we don't. We need your help. Tiffany's one that helps. Tiffany, very generous member of Carolina Rise. And she says this is where I get frustrated with Ray and Chance. Freaking stand up, fight them. They have no teeth now. My understanding is they are. What they're not doing is kind of proceeding, because what you could do in that situation is you could cause, and I know the NCAA said on one end about NIL, we're not going to declare any student athletes ineligible. But if the guidance says USC can't do it, and it comes from USC, I can't believe we're talking about impermissible benefits in this day and age. That's an impermissible benefit. And so you're like, geez. And so that's what they're trying to do. But Chance and Ray both are fighting for it. My goodness, Tiffany, that was like, $1.2 million investment and cutting edge. Why would they not? But they're fighting it right now. You just don't. You're not going to hear them say much publicly about it right now. Hood 89 says, I always want Bobby Bentley to get a shot at her Muschamp. I agree. I think a lot of other people agree about that too. I'd still like to see what he could do, even if he could be labeled a risk. I also heard he would want it. What happened with that relationship? Of course, yeah, Bobby would definitely want it. There's nothing with the relationship there. It came down to space. Beamer didn't have enough space. So that was that. And they didn't know each other like Kimberly and Beamer did. And then Bobby, of course, went to South Florida. Look, man, if for whatever reason Shane Beamer hired Bobby as the OC, I'm sure half the fans out there like freak out. I'd be the conductor. I'd be like what's that? What's it? The Polar Express, right? This is Christmas. I'd be like the Polar Express pulling the damn train full of Burns Rebels, Bobby Bentley toys, and all that good stuff. Choo choo. I would be the conductor. Okay,
you'd be out there leading them like a Big Ten drum major.
I would be, with a freaky contuted thing. Don't get me wrong. And when I say this, I want to be clear. I agree with everything you said. I think because you had a Kurt Roper experiment, even during the Spurrier era when he turned the play calling over to his son, it was like head scratchingly bad. You had a Brian McClendon experiment that didn't really work out. Bobo was only here for a year, and then he bolts, and then you had the Marcus Satterfield experiment, which kind of sounds like a tie-dyed psychedelic keyboard band from the 60s. Come on now, groovy, the Marcus Satterfield experiment. Oh, man.
The Marcus
Satterfield.
Yeah.
And it'd have a funny nickname like the MSC. We're going to see MSC, man. MSC, pass it. Cool. Or the SAT-X. That's SAT-X, bro. SAT-X. Anyway, I think he has to get somebody proven. And it's not necessarily Shane's fault that he can't do it. And maybe he will, and we'll all go, curious. But I think that would be the issue with doing that is from perception standpoint and all that, because you'd be hiring someone that's never ran an offense at the Power 5 level. So that's the deal there. Jeff Fowler says Ohio State won 6 games in 2020, made the playoffs. Colonel. Yeah, that whole crap where they're like, we're not going to play because of safety, and everybody's like hoping, like they're like, oh yeah, they're like everybody, all the media, these guys. I think literally during the pandemic were sitting there going, in their houses with hazmat suits on, judging everybody that left their house.
That's right. Yeah.
And they were all like, and then they were like, oh, well, the Big Ten's making the right decision because it's about health and safety. So the Big 12 and ACC and SEC, and this is the one that I was proud of the ACC for doing this. They were like, we're going to kind of go look at our own science, and figure it out. So the SEC did a big study, the doctors, and they're like, it's safe to play. We got to test everybody. You're going to have people that have to sit out, blah, 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 but it's safe to play. And so they played and started playing, and then the Big Ten and Pac-12 were like, I mean, how stupid do you have to feel? The Pac-12 actually, because of the state of California, which basically became North Korea during the pandemic, the state of California would probably shut them down anyway. But how about the Pac-12? Just, okay, big brother, whatever. Next thing you know, they take USC and UCLA, took their lunch money. But, I thought, although the Big Ten was the height of hypocrisy, because then they came back and they're like, oh, God, and Ohio State played 6 games, got in the playoff, and played for a national title. Weird. Hood says Bobby B wouldn't want it. I don't know. I hadn't asked him. But a chance to coordinate your own offense, I don't know. Tiffany says, I literally want to see the NCAA dead and a new order rise. Tiffany getting like Star Wars, like Empire, like Rise of the Resistance here.
Yeah, that's right.
We were destroyed. Bring Captain Solo and the Wookiee to me. Mark says, hell, hire Bobby Bentley and Willie Corn. 2006 Burns. Clarence says JC kind of sounds like Alex Jones. I know my voice does a little bit because it's a little like, and I'm Southern. Please don't think that guy. I don't know that guy.
That guy.
Hey, it'd be funny if I started jockeying like products that like, hey guys, how about this? Inside the Gamecocks, the root the root, if you take this, here's Alex Jones. If you take this root and you eat it, I'm gonna tell you the people right now, right? Okay, eat this root right now. You eat it right now, and you're gonna well, how tall are you? 5'9", 5'8", you'll be 7 feet tall. 7 feet tall, guaranteed. And folks, I'm gonna tell you, only 30 now. Wait a minute, I'm getting a message from God. Okay, all right, yes. He's telling me you got to get the root right now. I'm 30. You know.
Yeah, your kids will be 5-star athletes. You got to give it to them.
Yeah, 76 stands up. He says he sounds nothing like Alex Jones. He's speaking common sense. No, I don't think he was talking about like the point I was trying to make. I think he's talking about my voice because I've listened to me sometimes, and and I'm like, I kind of got that same deal when I don't go native. Macadino asked, is it possible to go with the passing game coordinator, running game coordinator, then the OC, like at LSU? I can't see that happening. I think it's going to be one guy, but you never know. I won't say anything, so that's all the thing. Hey, Nick Tanos says a good thing, another Alex Jones thing. He's talking about, because Alex Jones said the frogs were turning gay.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
Remember
it's
that?
turning the frogs gay.
So Nick Tanos goes like, I'm sitting there going, they're turning all the recruits paid. They are evil people. Evil. Aliens came down and created the NCAA. You know that, don't you?
But not if you take the root. But you got to take the
root. Don't forget this root. The funniest Alex Jones thing I ever saw, and I've never watched it. Right, I used to catch bits and pieces back in the day, but what's that? The guy John on HBO, the British guy. It's funny. The news.
That's right.
It's not the Daily Show. It's stuck in my head, but he did a segment on Alex on Alex Show, the nightly, something like night. Last night today.
It's like last night today or something. Yeah, with John.
John, jeez, I can't forget it. But anyway,
John Oliver, thanks, Will. Thanks, John. John Oliver.
He did a segment on Jones, and I laughed from start to finish. It was hilarious. So, anyway, all right, we got to take our final break. It won't be.
I really don't have our final break, JC. I can, piece together a couple, 3 things. Yeah,
I didn't put it in. Oh, I forgot to send it to you. I was going to send it to you. The breaks are so short.
I know, man. We don't have any time. I know. You know what? I'll play Meredith. Since we haven't played Meredith, that's about 1 minute and 20. Give Meredith some love, and then give me time to run downstairs.
All right, that sounds good. We'll be back in 1 minute 20 inside the Gamecocks, the show. Attention golfers of all ages and skill sets. Former Gamecock golfer Meredith Taylor will be a full-time golf instructor in the Midlands of South Carolina very, very soon. You want to take advantage of this opportunity. If you're like me and you got to get a whole lot better at golf, or even if you're looking to refine your swing, Meredith is the person you need to go to. She's competing in her final USGA Mid-Amateur Tournament this summer before going full-time into teaching and coaching individuals. If you're in South Carolina, Meredith will be conducting in-person golf lessons at the Country Club of Lexington, half-hour, on course. She'll play 9 or 18 with you. If you're out of state, though, this is really exciting. She'll be conducting virtual lessons. You can send in your swing for her expert analysis. Also, in November, she'll launch an online course with video instruction for all ages and skill levels. Meredith has 20-plus years of knowledge, former SEC golfer, all of that. So contact her on Twitter at MerTaylor, at MERTAYLOR, or go to McKellarEnterprises.org. McKellar spelled MCKELLAR, Enterprises.org. Her email's on the website, so you can connect with her for any other questions. Go get your golf game in order. Take advantage of Meredith Taylor and her services.
This is Coach O. Now back to the show. Go Tigers in LaSalle.
Welcome back to Inside the Gamecocks, the show, everybody. Looks like JC got a little detained. I don't know. Maybe he went in there and she was like, stop talking about Notre Dame, clown. No, but yeah. Did have the epic rant on all of the NCAA and NIL stuff. It really just that drives me crazy, just because it's they want this draconian philosophy coming out of their ivory tower, and that just definitely sets me off. So I appreciate y'all indulging me on that rant today.
Absolutely. Thoughts on calling DW4 the misogynist? Misogynist.
I love it.
Hey, somebody like, man, look, man, I don't know. Deshaun, like, here's my question about that, okay? All right, so how do you sexually harass someone at the rub and tug? Please tell me. And I'm not standing up for him because obviously once it got to like 36 different women, you're like, this guy needs to learn how to behave in the massage parlor. You know, obviously he's a rookie. You know, I guess at Clemson there's not that many establishments, and I know there's not in Gainesville, Georgia. By the way, the strip club in Gainesville, Georgia, is this place called The Top. And the Top. Because there's a hill and it's up like with this old barn at the top, and it's let's just say it's not your standard one. And look, I haven't been.
Is it like Porky's? What do you?
It looked like Porky's. It kind of looked like because it's back in the woods and it's way off in the distance. You see the neon sign. It's just kind of up on a hill instead of in a swamp, and you're like, wow, and you walk in there and it's just terrible. I mean, it's one of there was a pregnant lady in there dancing. She was making money. I couldn't believe it.
Everybody's got their tastes.
She was probably the hottest girl in the entire establishment. Just to be honest, I'm just going to be straight with you. I gave her $1.
See, that's not fair because it also calls to a sentimental side of you when that's not necessarily what you're considering feeding when you walk in a place like that, right?
Yeah,
you're grabbing at me from both ends.
Sometimes, feeding. You think you may be feeding a drug habit or meth habit too, or you may be, feeding some kids at home. Go get those SpaghettiOs, baby. When you get off at 4, pick up some McDonald's biscuits. But you didn't expect like that kind of feeding, So,
the ultimate flex is when she goes backstage and removes the prosthesis, and she's like, "Got him again,
got him again,
got him again."
I don't know. That's a hell of a makeup job. She's nude. I mean, I'm like, what? I don't know how you hide it. I mean, that's
Best
a hell of a makeup
show on the internet.
I'm just telling you right now, man. I'm just telling you right now. I'm like, man, and I tipped her $1, so that was a long time ago, guys. Because these days you get kicked out for only tipping $1 anywhere. I read all these stories. Sometimes the DoorDash driver's like, this guy only tipped me $6. Man, I used to deliver pizzas. If I got 50 cents, I was happy, right? Now $6 isn't enough to drive your car 3 miles. Right. I understand, I understand that gas is expensive, but these people are like living wage. I'm like, you're driving for, man, come on. But I don't know. I drove for DoorDash during the pandemic, and I was happy with 6. If I got 10, I'd praise the Lord, folks. During the pandemic, the website business wasn't so good. So, and I was so bored, I would just do it even if I didn't need the money because I was like, I just didn't have anything to do. Right? Yeah, I had nothing to do and all that good stuff. So it was crazy. Krager says, welcome Cinnamon to the stage. Top of Gainesville, Cinnamon and her little bun. You get it? Cinnamon in the bun, the pregnant girl. Anyway,
I see what you did there.
Right. Macadina says, how often does the SEC's leading tackler doesn't make the all-SEC team when he plays for South Carolina? Just kidding. I hope they don't mess those votes up. I can see Tonka, Cam, and Wells being all-SEC. Pro Football Focus had, I think, Tonka third, Cam first, Wells first, which was probably right.
Yeah, Bell's third team, I think.
Bell was third team. Kroger was first team.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm still mad about the Ray Guy Award. Yeah, speaking of the state of Georgia, those guys are at the strip clubs in Augusta. A little bit better. That's why they didn't. Maybe we should move the Ray Guy Award to Gainesville and put the offices next to the top. If it's still there. I bet it burnt. I bet there's some story it burnt down. I mean, this was like 15 years ago.
It flooded in one of these hurricanes or something. Yeah.
Trey goes, Bellagio to the main stage. Bellagio to the main stage. Macadino says PFF is trash. I tend to agree. I call it like propaganda football fun instead of pro football focus, because schools will use it for propaganda. Like if PFF says something great, they'll put it all out there. Oh, this guy's good. And I'm guilty of it too, in terms of the Gamecocks and stuff with my website. But when they say something, I mean, that most of the time though, you sit there and you wonder what game they're watching. You're like, I saw this guy, it's like, especially with the offensive line. They're like, I saw this guy get destroyed 6 times personally. And that's hard when you're watching a game and following the ball. And it's like, he graded out at 98.3%. What's the criteria again?
Yeah.
That kind of thing. So yeah, Macadino, Kai Kroger, and a guy that could go. Kai Kroger could go pro. You guys know that, don't you? Not that I don't know that he's thinking about it or anything like that. But if there is a punter in the country that could declare and get drafted, it's
early.
Probably
Early,
yeah. You're like, man. I mean, he'd be the type of guy the Bears drafted, right? Everybody's sitting around excited because the Bears got like 7 picks in the first 3 rounds. Man, we got that. And got all this cap space now. This is going to be our year. Justin Fields, we're going to be good. I promise. Give me a beef and crack open my old style and just watch. And a Polish sausage. And so we're watching the draft, and they take a linebacker and O-lineman, and they're pretty good. Not the flashy players like they're hoping for, because they're just starved for offense up here. And like the 3rd round, Kai Kroger, punter, South Carolina. Audible groan in the bar. I think the last 3 picks of the last draft for the Bears were like 2 tight ends and a long snapper. And the missus had volunteered at this animal thing, and I went to pick her up. And there's a little bar that they all go to afterwards. I will go hang out with the guys and have a couple. And they draft. So we caught the last 3 rounds of the last day of the draft. Everybody's like excited because the Bears had extra picks. Like, I wonder who we get. Maybe get a steal. Get a steal. 2 tight ends and a long snapper. Audible groan. God. 76 is a Bears fan. We got beef, Ditka and Kroger. Let's go. Kroger, what a punter.
What a punter.
For a franchise like that that's not had a good offense in years, Kai Kroger would win them a Super Bowl.
Give him a shot. That's right.
The Bears' miracle season, they win the Super Bowl 10-6, is the worst Super Bowl of all time, but everybody in Chicago's crying. And they're like, hey, Kai Kroger, man, he just gets my heart. He's a Bear all the way. Saunders said we'd rather have a beef sandwich than a punter. All right, guys, give me a beef.
Yeah, beef.
Again, Carolina basketball, man. How did I just transition from the worst strip club I've ever been to the Chicago Bears to Carolina basketball? Because that's what I love misery, folks. That's
right. Yeah, because we are gluttons for punishment here.
We deal in misery and sadness. It's the best 2-week period of the history of Carolina football. Great things are happening, and we get sidetracked and talk about the worst strip club ever, the Bears.
And Lamar
and now Carolina basketball team. I just can't quit you, sadness. Hello.
No, I know, right? I wish I knew how to quit you.
Anyway, well, Georgetown, I don't know. I think Georgetown's good. I mean, it's hard to even look at any games right now with how they're playing guys and go, oh, well, they should beat them. Who? Who?
No. So, you don't have a lot of confidence right now. I mean, maybe they'll gel and pull it together. We all hope they do, for goodness sake. But
yeah,
I don't know. Don't hold your breath.
I don't know. So it's kind of crazy. Tiffany wants to clarify about Star Wars. Who's just a huge Star Wars fan, not the Empire. In that example, the NCAA is the Empire, and I'm the Rebellion. That's right. Let's get you an X-wing fighter. Ooh, and Phil with the Southwest mug. Is he the Q John Ginn of the Gamecock universe?
Yeah.
Quiet Strike.
Quiet.
How did I screw that up, Phil?
You said it correctly as it's spelled, but it was.
I've ruined a good show, and I knew it was Quiet Guy. It was the Liam Neeson character, right?
Yes, yeah, that's right. He has a
Liam
specific
Neeson, by the
skills.
way. Yeah. Broke back Garfunkel, John. Whoa. Yeah, man. Hey, nothing wrong with little Simon and Garfunkel, right?
No, yeah.
I don't know about it. I had to get. I saw Paul Simon in Greenville one time. It was not a good. I don't know.
Well,
I would have liked Crosby. I would have liked Crosby, but still Nash better, I think. Tiffany says, notice how the 3 Ray Guy finalists are from northern schools. Here's what's crazy, Tiffany. They're based in Augusta, Georgia.
Right.
How did that happen?
It makes no sense.
I mean, they're literally right down I-20. They could have come and seen him play live. I mean, I don't get it.
I'm ashamed to even run this. I don't think any of them watched any damn football this year.
The other thing about that feels like when you look at the stats, Kai's superior. I mean, it's not, maybe they got averaged more yards. I mean, I just don't know. I just don't understand it. I'm baffled by that. All right. So we're running out of time here, folks. Thank you so much for tuning in today. Don't forget, you can get this on podcast. Hit the subscribe button on our YouTube page if you don't mind. Also hit like on our Facebook page, Inside the Gamecocks. For those of you that do follow on Facebook, we may be going to a new Facebook home in the near future. And I'll tell you this, we had a lot of fun today, joking around, all that good stuff, like we like to do. We'll always do that. But Monday, we may not fit any of that in because it's almost like a hurricane warning to my friends and I. I mean, we had a meeting this morning with 24/7 Sports about this. The portal opens, right? Transfer portal opens. This is the first year they've said, it's opening today. Okay. And so they said this is going to be like signing day, right? Which is usually extremely busy. So we may have news breaking left and right on Monday. So that's going to be, so prepare thyself for a fun show in a different way, actually. But thanks to Michael Flint for joining us. Thanks to all of you in the Nana Sports chat box. Thanks to all of our sponsors. We had a blast today. This has been Inside the Gamecocks, the show for Phil Mullinax, JC Sherbert. Enjoy championship weekend, folks. Depending on where you want Carolina to go to a bowl, I'd kind of just pull for the status quo. See ya.